Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond the Evidence. This is the channel where justice matters. My name is Marv. I am a true crime fanatic, and I love to dig deeper into the mysteries of unsolved cases. Join me as we search for missing persons, uncover the clues in unsolved murders, follow along with jury trials, and we'll be a voice for the voiceless. I'll share with you the facts, the theories, the clues, the evidence, and the controversies that surround these cases. This is Beyond the Evidence. Hello everyone. Good afternoon. This is a little different for us as I am on early. Today we are talking about the Jennifer Crumbley trial. We are in verdict watch for this trial. The jury received their instructions early this morning, and they have been deliberating most of the day. The judge just sent them home for the day, and they are to come back at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning to continue deliberations. So far, there's been 2 questions. Can't really tell which way they're leaning towards based off of those questions. But they're definitely going through the steps and letting, looking at all the evidence that was there and going through it. So if you're not familiar with this case, I'm going to go through and give you a sneak peek of Beyond the Evidence Patreon so that you can see what I've been putting on there. This is new. You can certainly join the Patreon, and I'll put the link in the chat. I spent all weekend doing a lot of work on this case just to show you what I'm going to be doing for these trials. I'm going to take this off of here so everyone can see it. So this is my version of the Patreon. Hey Jinx, how you doing? This is what I see, but I just wanted everyone to see what you're going to see. So I put on a video of the pre-trial preview of the Adam Montgomery case. This is going to be starting tomorrow. I thought it was today, but I got my dates wrong. Can't help it. Oh, thank you. So they're going to start picking jury members tomorrow on this case, and we have profiled Harmony on this channel, and we are definitely going to continue doing that. One of the things that I did over the weekend is I did a trial summary of the Jennifer Crumbley trial. I put in here why the trial matters, what the charges are, what the jury needed to know from the judge's instructions. And then I started going through the witness list and gave you a brief summary of what that witness was about, what the witness said, why it matters. And I did that for every single witness in this trial. The reason I was busy all weekend is because normally I would do this on a daily basis of a trial. But this idea came to me, And it's an easy way for anyone to go into Patreon and just get a breakdown of what happened that day, or in this case, the 7 days for the trial, and see just get a brief overview of what happened versus having to watch it. Yeah, it was a lot because, as you can see, it just keeps going and going and going because, like I said, it's every single witness. And after I got done with the witness breakdown, so I'm still scrolling here. Let me see. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, Jennifer Crumbley's testimony. Okay, so then what I did was I went through and I said, how were I wanted them to give a brief summary of the prosecutor's closing statements summarizing the case against Jennifer Crumbley. So once again, it's got detailed information on what the highlights were about the prosecutor's case and how the prosecutor's case statements impact the case. I then did the same thing for the defense. What their key points were, what they said, how the defense's closing statement impacts the case. And then I went through and I did the prosecution's evidence in the case. So these are the key points of their evidence. I did the same thing for the defense. And as you can see, it just keeps going. And then I talked about the victims and the individuals that were wounded in this tragedy. And I've named the 4 students: Madison Baldwin, Tate Meir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling. And it just gives a little bit of information about them. And then finally, it names those who were wounded and a little description about each one of them. And then the last thing that I did is I put in here how it affected the family, friends, and the community in this situation, in this tragedy. There's supposed to be a picture here, but it's not showing up. But that's all right. As you can see, there's a lot of information here. Hang on. I got to tell this person I'm live. So this is just one of the things that I've done on Patreon. And Jinx, yes, it's a lot of work. But as I do it for so I'm going to do the same thing for the Adam Montgomery trial. But it'll be easier because I'll do one each day. I won't have to do it all at the end of the trial. I have some things in here about Delphi. I'll be adding more this week and next week and as the time goes. Just little breakdowns of what's happening in the trial. I have all 8 days of the trial footage on here so far. I'm not including today's because you would just sit there and watch a seal. So, but once the verdict comes in, I'm going to try to live stream it tomorrow unless I'm in a meeting. I do have meetings tomorrow. I was hoping it would come in today. And I did include in here, there's some Delphi videos in here. I did include some other videos on Ethan's portion of his case, What they did with him is what's called a Miller hearing, where because he's a juvenile, he had to have a hearing so that the judge could determine his sentence, whether it was going to be life in prison without parole or like, a sentence of so many years. I'm going to be adding those in here tonight. But like I said, there's quite a bit of stuff in here. With the new YouTube guidelines, basically what we're going to do is a very in-depth conversations and live streams on Patreon. That way I know I'm not going to get myself demonetized. On YouTube, I'm going to go through the cases and I'm just going to give a general overview. So, like tomorrow, probably Wednesday because we're waiting for the verdict. Wednesday, I'll be bringing you a missing person. There's not a lot of information. I don't see her name on YouTube a whole lot. So one of the things that I said is I want to bring some of these older missing person cases to you so that we can get them out to the public and hopefully kickstart their case again. Friday, I am going to do a Delphi discussion, and we're going to talk about all the motions that have come out the past week, and probably more this week, I'm sure. The hearing that Judge Gull set, and the fact that the defense has already asked for continuance. Lots of things happening with that. So, big week. It's going to be interesting. Once I get some more Patreon members, we're going to have our first live chat. So far, I think I have 2. You can do a 7-day free trial on Patreon, just to let you know. That way you can see what information is out there and decide whether you want to become a permanent member. I've done it really easily. There's a $3 support the channel where it's just a monetary donation. And then to see all the information that I put out there is $5 a month. I don't have any plans of increasing it. It's just to help me cover some costs and help pay for some of my time, as these trials are going to require a lot of time. But I will pace myself, I promise. Definitely. So I know that we have some people watching, not a lot of people chatting. I'm just curious, Jinx, I know you're in chat. And for those of you who are behind the scenes, what are your thoughts on this case? Because I know, as I've been watching the chat groups in like Court TV and all the other channels that are showing this trial, what is everyone's thoughts on this? Should the mother even be tried? The mother and the father even be tried in this case? That's my question to you. What are your thoughts? Because a lot of people are 50-50. Yes, they should be tried for the neglect, and 50% say she shouldn't be tried. Yes, I will get together with you after this. Absolutely. I'm going to be doing a separate video on the memorial walks coming up in April, because we have 3 in one weekend. So that's going to be a lot of information coming your way. So if you're watching at a later time, hit the like, the thumbs up, share this video out, and leave me a comment below. I'm curious as to what everybody's thoughts are on this trial, on her husband's trial that's going to start next month. I don't know. I think she should be tried just to be held accountable for the neglect. Right. I know. I see both sides of the matter. As a parent, my child goes and does something, and this is what everyone is afraid of. If my child goes and does something, can I be held responsible for it? Well, if I'm grossly negligent and allowed that child, didn't stop that child or get that child help, then yeah, I can see why the state brought charges. But if it's just one of these cases where there was no gross negligence and the parents didn't know, had no signs, no, I don't think charges should be brought. Hi CJK, how you doing? Jinx agreed, definitely see both. Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing in this case is that people are afraid that it's going to set a precedence, and all of a sudden parents are going to be tried for all kinds of things that their children do. And that's not how it's going to be. It's going to be on a case by case matter. This is the first time 2 parents have been charged in one of these situations. CJK says, these 2 people weren't parents by any stretch of the word. They set Ethan up for failure in life in every way. Personally, I see gross negligence. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. They knew he had issues. They ignored it when he asked for help. They bought him a gun, and then they knew he wasn't of sound mind. I agree. I have watched every single minute of this trial. I did not believe Jennifer's testimony when she said that they would always joke about this kind of stuff. And him hearing voices and seeing things in the house move and all that stuff, that was a big joke between the family. I believe that he did ask for help and they just didn't give it to him. If you hate gun shootings, yep, then there has to be accountability. Yes, I agree. I agree 100%. And it has to be on a case-by-case basis. You know, this world is a different place in schools. It absolutely is a different place than when I went to school or when others went to school. We didn't have to worry about that. We had to worry about somebody coming causing a fist fight, you know, and doing things like that. Not bringing a gun to school. Absolutely not. Not in my day. I think the worst thing that somebody did when I went to school, those 4 years in high school, is somebody stole the spirit stick. That was it. And they got in trouble for it. But schools are very different. Very different. today versus when I went to school. It's sad. They had no real love. Yeah. I mean, she made it sound like she loved him and was nurturing, and I think she was more controlling than anything. Yeah, stole the spirit stick. Yep. Some boys in the class did that. He did know what he was doing. He planned it. He knew that he did not want to do the same thing that others in the situation had done. He wanted to see other people suffer. And that's sad. That's extremely sad. I can't imagine feeling like that. Feeling like you had no one, you weren't loved, you had no support, and that the only way life would be better is if you were to see people suffer. That's just horrid to me. Right, like when I went to high school, we still had kids riding with guns in the back of their trucks on Iraq. Exactly. Exactly. And not too long ago, it was a few months ago, we had an incident at our local high school. My husband, who works 30 miles away, called me while I was working and said that there was a UN at the school. Talk about freaking out. Jumped out of my desk and raced to the school and found out that it was just a soft lockdown. But the way my husband had found out is that one of the gentlemen that he works with has a child at that school, and that child was texting the parents saying there was a UN in the school and that he was scared. No text messages went out. No phone calls went out. They sent an email. And I let the principal have it. She could not get me out of that room quick enough. In today's society, these schools have to realize that it's not acceptable. Not with what's happening in all these states, in all these schools. An email? Really? And she's like, well, how did and I let her have it. I said, do you realize that you had students in this school texting out to their parents stating in school, I'm scared, come get me. And you decided to send an email out? I don't think so. Yeah, I told her absolutely unacceptable. I mean, that is one of parents' biggest fears right now, is to get that news that an incident, a tragedy has happened at a school like this. Makes me nervous every day. Thankfully, nothing serious has happened in our area. And I say that thankfully because it's happened in so many states and towns. So many. So I don't know what the right answer is here when it comes to this case. like I said, I see both sides. I understand why people are concerned. And because of the way the government is run and things happen in this world, they're afraid that if this mother and father are convicted, it's going to set a precedence, and parents are going to be tried for all kinds of things that their children do. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think most of these prosecutors are smart enough to know when they've actually got a case. And it's going to be on an individual basis, like I said earlier. They're not just going to try a case. They have to know that they can win the case. That's the only way they're going to bring charges. When my granddaughter was a junior, they went on lockdown. Yep. A text message, I can see that. At least I would be notified right away. I look at text messages. I don't look at emails throughout the day to see if I've gotten an email from the school relating to an incident. And that's exactly what I told her. I said, you have parents working, and they're not going to be checking their emails throughout the day. So I'm curious. I know this is one case I would not want to be a juror. Absolutely not. There has to be smart reasoning to bring. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just terrifying nowadays. It really is. And I see what these other parents go through. I can't imagine their pain. Absolutely not. And the vice principal, the assistant principal that testified in this case, what she did was amazing. Amazing. I don't know that I could have done that. She went towards the danger. That individual with the walked right by her and then proceeded to pew to other students while she attended to a student on the ground. The guilt she has is enormous. And I understand as a person, an individual, why she would have guilt like that. But in my perspective, she should not feel guilty. Not at all. She went against policy and walked down the hallways towards the danger. And she stayed with that student until they took him away from her. And the fact that the parents took out cash from the bank, fled their home, and hid out didn't help. Yes. And that's why in this instance, looking at the totality of the evidence, I do see gross negligence. If you were just to look at one part here and one part there, no, but all of it together, I do see it. She did. She cared about the students more than herself. 1 second. She was a very brave woman. Very brave. Varies greatly from the coward Yeah. Yep, I agree. I mean, these things keep happening at our schools, and it seems like there's no way, nobody can figure out how to stop it. Nobody. And there was previous signs in every single case. So how is it that we have all these signs in each situation and we still can't learn how to stop it? You know, and in this case, there was 4 students that lost their lives. Their families are completely destroyed. One of the injured was a brother to a girl that was deceased. That family didn't only lose a child, but they had an injured child that they had to deal with also. Yeah. Our children are hurting for many reasons, but they haven't learned any coping skills. That's the problem. I mean, between parents and schools, back when I was in high school, you know, they taught us how to handle conflict. You know, what was the proper way to handle conflict? Kids these days, they don't know. So they've got it all bottled up inside until they just break. Well, I'd love to see the schools bring back a lot of stuff. But unfortunately, funding for that is just not in the cards. Hi, Renee Days. Good to see you. So, I guess all I can say based on this is if you have children, I know that life gets busy. I know that people tell you not to impede on their independence and let them grow up, be confident. But in order to find out if there was anything wrong, you do have to do some checking. I do phone checks. I make my son open up his phone and show me what apps he has, look at the conversations that I mean, not in great detail. I don't read every single one, but I do cherry pick just to make sure, that nothing is supposed to be happening that shouldn't be. And I explained to him I'm not trying to impede on his independence and his privacy. It's just the fact that in today's world, as a parent, we have to be careful. We were a kid once. We know how to be sneaky and everything else. There's things that you don't tell your parents, you know. And I learned that with my daughter. And so with him, I'm a little, I don't do phone checks every week, every month. It's sporadic. But I do them just to make sure that everything's okay in his world. And then he's not being stalked online and all this good stuff. My son, who is 16, brought home Student of the Month award today. I was so proud of him. Exactly. And when those moments happen, we as parents have to take time out of our busy schedule to celebrate those moments, to show our children that we're proud of them. You know, any little thing like that happens. Yep, got to do that. Check phones, apps. Yep. Exactly. You know, you got to worry about all this online stuff, but you also have to worry about who is influencing them in their daily lives that they have a daily touch base with. So I just wanted to come on for a little bit today. This is my live for today. Normally have them at night, but I thought that were going to be deliberating. The jury was going to be deliberating a little bit longer today, but they decided to cut it short or end at the normal time. But for those of you who are here, I just want once again to show you what the Patreon looks like and what I'm doing with these trials, because I know a lot of people are interested in them, but you don't have time to sit there and watch 8 hours of a trial every day. So, like I said, I put out a quick little note just a little bit ago that the jury deliberated most of the day. So far, there's been 2 questions by the jury. I felt so bad for the 5 alternate jurors. They spent all day at that courthouse doing whatever. The judge actually said that she saw one of them sleeping on the floor and everything else. So it has to be so boring for them, but they understand why they have to be there. The jury will come back at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Also on the Patreon, I have a video about the pretrial of Adam Montgomery. They are going to start picking jurors tomorrow. And we will be following that case on the Patreon in depth. But one of the biggest things that I'm going to do for these trials is a summary. And for the Jennifer Crumbley trial, I put out a summary of the whole trial. Why the trial matters, what are the charges, what the jury needs to know from the judge's instructions. And then I went through and I detailed information about each witness, what they said, and why does it matter. So I'm going to scroll down here because I did that, like I said, for every single witness. And then at the end of the day, so what I did afterwards is after all the witness information was out there, I put how the prosecutor's closing statements summarized their case, what the prosecutor said, how the prosecutor's closing statements impact the case. I did the exact same thing for the defense. Then I showed the key points of the prosecution's evidence. I did the same thing for the defense. And then I went into the victims and the wounded individuals and how this has affected the families, the community, and the world. So for the Adam Montgomery trial, I'm going to do the same thing every day. So every day there will be a summary about the testimony. And then at the end, I'll do, the synopsis of the closing statements for both prosecution and defense, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much, Renee Days. She says, keep doing what you're doing, girl. We appreciate ya. Spicy lady, that's the best part of my day. I don't know about you, but when my son comes home and he's excited to tell me something, that's a good day, because most days you ask him, how was school? It was okay. My daughter, she used to come home and go, I'd say, how was school? She'd go, meh. That's all I got out of her. So the days that they come home and they actually show you something or tell you something are the best. It's really hard to be a teen, and it's really hard. Yes, it is. And I am also torn about this case. See you later, CJK. Thanks for showing up. Oh, you're welcome. So if we learn anything from this case, it is that as parents, we do need to be aware of signs when it comes to our children. It's okay to do some checking here and there. But most importantly is just to try to keep the communication open with your child, even when they don't want to talk to you. Just keep trying, because as you keep trying, this is what I found out, as you keep trying, your first thing that you may get is, nothing happened today. How was your day? Good. Bad. You get a one answer. They go do whatever they want to do, and then an hour and a half, 2 hours later, they actually come talk to you about it, because they know that you're interested in what happened. They just needed some time to be by themselves, and then they'll come talk to you. Show them love. Show them empathy. And just talk to them. Justin, I want her to be guilty so bad. I think but I also believe in the rule of law. Prosecutor was way too overzealous. Like I said, I see it both ways. I really do. And that's why this one really is bothering me. We can all agree she's a bad parent. Absolutely. But does that make her grossly negligent and make it to where she should have seen that he could have done something with this that they bought him? I don't know. Unless you can read her mind, it's tough. So tough. So I give kudos to the jurors. They're talking through it. They've spent over 7 hours today deliberating, talking. Like I said, only 2 questions have come out. They're going to come back at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I won't be in a meeting and I can live stream it. If not, I'll do a live after I get done with work, and we'll talk about it again and discuss what we think what we think about the verdict. But thank you all for coming in today and listening to me and viewing the Patreon. I appreciate it. Doing a lot of work. And between YouTube and Patreon, we're going to be able to get these stories out in a meaningful way. So that's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. Click the like button, share the stream out, and leave me a comment below. I do check on those and look at them, so try to respond to as many as I can. Spice says, I just know how I'd be, and I would be in denial. It's almost impossible for a mother to think their kid would. Yes, I agree with you there too. But as parents, we have to remember how we were as kids, and anything is possible, especially with the way these things are going in today's world and society. All right, everybody. Remember, justice matters. We're out there for all the victims, their families, all the missing. And tomorrow starts the Adam Montgomery trial. We want justice for Harmony Montgomery just as much as we want justice for the Delphi girls, the Florida girls, and for the Michigan students that lost their life. I'll see you soon. Have a good day. Bye.